London, 1815. The most famous man in the world, the mad, bad, and dangerous to know poet Lord Byron, has just had a daughter, but within months, he flees England, never to see her again. His daughter, Ada, is left in the hands of a mother who fears one thing above all, that Ada will inherit her father's dangerous poetic imagination. To cure her of any artistic tendencies, her mother forces her into a life of brutal, cold logic mathematics. But what her mother didn't realize was that by trying to suppress Ada's imagination, she was giving her the tools to imagine a future that wouldn't exist for another 100 years. Today, we unlock the story of Ada Lovelace, the woman who saw the soul in the machine. Welcome to Time Unlocked. Ada's childhood was a regimen of numbers. Her mother, Annabella Milbank, whom Byron called the Princess of Parallelograms, hired the best tutors in England. Among them was Mary Somerville, a legendary scientist of the era. Somerville didn't just teach Ada math, she introduced her to the intellectual elite. It was here that Ada began to develop what she called poetical science. She didn't see math as dry, she saw it as a language that could describe the very fabric of the universe. In 1833, at just 17 years old, Ada attended a salon that would change the world. She met a man named Charles Babbage, and he showed her a monster made of brass, the difference engine. Charles Babbage was obsessed with a problem, human error. In the 1830s, mathematical tables used for navigation and engineering were calculated by hand. They were full of mistakes that led to shipwrecks and collapsed bridges. Babbage's solution was the difference engine, a mechanical calculator. While others were impressed by the shiny gears, Ada was the only one who asked about the logic behind it. Babbage was so impressed by her mind that he called her the enchantress of numbers. But soon, Babbage moved on to something far more ambitious, the analytical engine. This wasn't just a calculator, it was a theoretical machine that used punch cards borrowed from the weaving looms of the Industrial Revolution to perform any mathematical task. In 1842, an Italian mathematician wrote a paper on Babbage's analytical engine. Ada was asked to translate it into English, but she didn't just translate it, she expanded it. Her notes became 3 times longer than the original paper. Within those notes lies the legendary Note G. Here, Ada describes an algorithm, a step-by-step set of instructions for the machine to calculate Bernoulli numbers. Now, we must clarify a historical debate. While Babbage had written smaller sketches of calculations before, Ada's Note G was the first complete, published, and sophisticated computer program in history. She understood loops, where the machine repeats a series of instructions, and subroutines, concepts that form the foundation of every line of code written today. This is what separates Ada Lovelace from Babbage. Babbage saw a machine that could crunch numbers. Ada saw a machine that could manipulate symbols. She wrote that the engine might act upon other things besides number, and that the engine might even compose elaborate and scientific pieces of music of any degree of complexity. Think about that. In 1843, she predicted digital music, computer graphics, and software. She even touched on the philosophy of artificial intelligence. She argued that a machine could only do what we know how to order it to do. It had no originality. A century later, Alan Turing would name this Lovelace's objection in his quest to create AI. She wasn't just a mathematician, she was the first philosopher of the digital age. Ada's life was as tragic as it was brilliant. She suffered from chronic illness and, by her late 30s, was dying. There is a persistent historical story that she and Babbage tried to create a mathematical system to win at horse racing and that she died in massive debt. While she did have financial struggles and a documented interest in the mathematics of chance, many modern biographers believe the gambling addict story was exaggerated by her critics to diminish her intellectual legacy. She died in 1852 at the age of 36, the exact same age as her father, Lord Byron. At her request, she was buried next to the father she never knew. Her work was forgotten for nearly a century, Dismissed by the Victorian establishment as the mere musings of a woman who was just Babbage's assistant, it wasn't until the dawn of the modern computer during World War II that Ada's notes were rediscovered. Pioneers like Alan Turing realized that this Victorian woman had already solved the logical hurdles they were facing. In 1980, the United States Department of Defense needed a single, high-level programming language to control their systems. They named it Ada. Every time you use an app, listen to a digital song, or interact with an AI, you are using the legacy of a woman who stood in a world of steam and gears and saw a world of data and dreams. Ada Lovelace proved that the most powerful tool in science isn't the machine, it's the imagination. She saw the poetic science in the code. Thank you for joining us on Time Unlocked. If you want to continue uncovering the hidden geniuses who build our world, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon. What's your favorite visionary moment in history? Let us know in the comments.